InShalla and Ashe. Faked myself out there for a minute. It's been a wild morning already. Holistic Sha'medium and subtle energy surgeon here, Tonya D. And welcome to Thursday, October 28th, 2021. Oi, 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 right? This really is the season of the witching hour, right? So anybody else up at that hour continually? Like, wow. Are you ready for your operating system to get a new download? Kind of like on the Mac computer, what we have now. I just updated mine. That's the other reason I'm a little delayed. But I'm sure that there is another system that we need to upgrade. It's our system of internal thoughts. It's this interval where things kind of get outdated. So how do we know if our system is outdated? Well, the queen herself gets a little excited. Maybe she gets a little lit up, if you will. She might feel a little juicy, and then the queen, it's a go when she feels good inside, right? So if the queen herself shies away and she wants to stay in the queendom, then it's not a good idea. You're kind of leaving your drawbridge up and your remote viewing, if you will. So our world is really going through this quantum recalibration. So some thoughts that you might have had actually no longer resonate, mostly because they no longer fit in the puzzle. And they're holding space, if you will. So this time is kind of over. It goes back to the idea of a best-selling authors list, the book, where you're no longer on the list, or maybe you were there for only a short stint or something, because the well is kind of, it's dried up. And today we have an elemental Yin Earth Rooster. So we have a lot of yin energy going inward for our journey. So ideas might prompt us to pop in. There's no nature, that's ideas. And only a little snipper, if you will, of water herself. So water is really needed to give the rooster a job, something to do, to perform, to communicate. Also, it will take away some of that earth energy, the energy of it, making it more pliable, easier to work with, not so heavy and dry. So our day is actually a very strong one, right? We've got a lot of earth energy. So there's no need to encourage her. Earth, definitely, like we need nature. We've got fire hidden in storage. We only have a little bit of water there as well, both yin, which yin has actually got more durability than yang energy, believe it or not. But there's absolutely zero nature, nothing there, not even hidden. So nature herself will break up the earth, kind of kneading, like when you knead and aerate the soil or clean up the leaves and whatnot. And water will assist in the breakdown, making it easier to break through. So grounding in nature herself, if you feel or felt a little overwhelmed, up with the rooster, if you will, the crack of the rooster, the dawn. Maybe you're too focused on chore or something to do, kind of leaving breadcrumbs wherever you go or you went. So grounding into nature actually assists our nervous system. So you could do any kind of movement from yoga to a neighborhood stroll, meditation, lifting weights, whatever it is that you do to recalibrate you. So that's just healthier ways to settle our nervous quotient, the mind's channel, because the mind really needs a focal point, and movement is actually the number one way to create that focal point. So sitting on the couch isn't going to do it at all. If anything, it's going to make your musing corridor a little rancid. So if you are a broken record in your mind, where your thoughts of the day continue on and on and on, they go down the rabbit hole, the queen isn't in control of the mind, which is actually creating that internal chaos. So the mind literally is going off on a tangent. It could be where you are, always going down the rabbit hole of the terrible thoughts, the really bad kind, or even a topic like the mainstream news that's all consuming and the sky is falling. So anything that actually puts you in a tailspin, especially a moody one, you know, just understanding where she needs to stop. It's like quick draw McGraw style kind of thing. And you get the queen back in charge, and you're the queen. So you also might release thoughts that don't allow you to think either. Those unseen walls might slide down. just allowing you to see what's really been hidden in your closet or under the bed or the rug or whatever, the truths, the spiritual truths that are inside of us. It's like when you keep your inner light dimmed down so you don't come across as an egotistical witch, right? Which you aren't. However, you also don't want to come across that way either. But the queen inside, you know, you are that queen. But the solar plexus is online today. The mental clarity might seem a little bit foggy, and that will create this adversity inside our beingness, suppressing things like our self-confidence, our self-esteem, all the things related to the solar plexus. So authentically, just tune into the channel of your heart. She always knows what is true and what is not true. You might have to get the fly swatter out and squish any thoughts that are less than in alignment with the queen herself. Forces of adversity need to know that they are no longer welcome. So you might actually be overly thinking, or the drawbridge is actually down, and you have those destructive thoughts that ultimately create harm to your beingness. So the key to access this is to allow your heart to kind of decipher, kneading through, you can't see my hands, but I'm like kneading on my desk, kneading through the thoughts and flicking out the ones that don't resonate, you know. Does your heart believe in those thoughts? Does she feel them to be true? You know, do they resonate? You know, so thoughts really are ideas that are ingredients in the cosmic soup. So our thoughts can actually be triggers, excuse me, and they can also sabotage, excuse me. Love that. Wow. You know, I wish my cold would, I'm going to put that out there. But thoughts. Here we go, maybe. Thoughts herself, the queendom. Okay, here we go. So thoughts can actually be our triggers that sabotage our lives and our reality. So that's why it's time to download an operating system that comes from the heavenly realm or the universe that's actually encouraging more lightning striking from the heavenly universe or the galactic universe, the channel of talking to yourself, the voice within. So literally, I just talk to myself, the voice within, like, come on, girl. So the voice within, you know, we need these higher octave of thoughts and also some new attitude adjustments within ourselves. So I would literally create a list of what does belong in your head and what doesn't belong in your head. And then analyze and utilize that drawbridge of what stays inside and what's actually going to go down the conscious river streams and just float away. So in the galactic grid, it's the idea of what you are looking to keep safe inside of you. It's like having the right scorecard, the attitude, the mental acumen, the clarity. So it's time to actually protect the correct way of thinking. And the negative way, those negative thoughts, literally get the switch turned off and flick the shift away. So the right way and the wrong way, you know, follow your heart and feel into your gut, your solar plexus. Loving ourselves isn't a bad thing. And it's really a higher octave to love ourselves inside and out. That really shifts the frequency of what we law of attract. So don't really allow your mind to be the handler of your heart. Allow your heart to be the handler of the mind, if you will. So the sound of the solar plexus, those are in the show notes. It's the ram. To realign, but you could also bring in the heart channel as well. And you could actually float into the shaman's portal too. The sound of nature is still the shishing. It's almost like, really, sometimes it's like what the leaves sound like when they're blowing in the wind, the breeze. The leaves, kind of that swishing as well. But now for the animal of the day, which is going to be super exciting. I went with the spider. So it's like the itty bitty spider climbed up the chimney spout. Okay, let me find my spider here. I think it's right here. Here we go. Oh, there it is. Oh my gosh. And so this spider, this is, let me look real quick so I know again. It is the European Black Widow of all things. But the Black Widow says, your creativity is a peak right now. Explore new projects and ideas that are in balance with your dreams of the future. My girlfriend actually had a Black Widow as a pet for a time. But the spider is bringing our attention to our creativity, right? The web and the netting. So it's really at its peak right now, and we should embrace our ideas, our dreams, and actually take the action. And while doing this, you also need to take the time to find a balance between your past and your future, because all of these are really subtle messages with our thought channel online. And those messages are what we need to focus on and translate into the present, into the current threading, the now. But it's also giving us a message that we are to weave our own web in life and that our reality is ours to create. So it also is giving us a clear meaning. It's making it clear that what you saw before you is the result of your thoughts. So in other words, the spirit animal teaches that if your current reality does not suit you, then it's time to make those changes. So the Orb Weaver Spider symbolizes, if that appears, and I don't have an image of that, but it's a message that signifies that we are the engineer of our own destiny. And now is the time that our dreams should come true and take advantage of all the things that present itself. There's no obstacles in our path, so it's time to go for it. Now, the Black Widow of all things, if one crosses your path, it's time to reevaluate what you are doing. There's something that you are creating that is not in line with the dreams you are trying to create. So you must take inventory of your thought processes and see where you are sabotaging yourself. It could also be a meaning, it's reminding us to pay closer attention to our intuition rather than relying on what is directly in front of you. Your inner knowledge insists that you need to adjust accordingly. There's some other spiders. I'm going to go with the daddy longleg of all things. When a daddy longleg shows up, that's a fact that we need to look at the bigger picture so that we can understand on a deeper level what's happening in our lives. Take a good look at what's going on under the surface, under the rug of things, and then adjust your plans accordingly. It also is a sign or a signal that represents a change in our perspective and the development of some surprises in our life. So right now, the advice is to go with the flow and embrace what's coming our way. This change will lead to a deeper understanding, new concepts and ideas, and changing our outlook on life. So the daddy longleg kind of signifies that something in our life is out of balance. So it's suggesting that there is some sort of power struggle going on that's resulting in coercion or oppression. So this imbalance needs to be corrected through mediation or even compromise. As a totem animal, if you have a spider as a totem animal, you really know how to balance the past and the future, physical and spirit, male and female. So they're both fierce and gentle, but at the same time, right? So you also are creative, especially when it comes to writing. You're also patient. You're going to take your time to lay the foundation of your success. So spider people are quick to take action when opportunities arise, and they rarely miss when they actually strike. So there's all kinds of little drag or spider messages here. If you dream of a spider, when it's creative and it's spinning a web, that's a signal that rewards are imminent for all of your hard work. Also, in other words, you will be promoted in your job, recognized for your achievements in a task that might have been difficult. And spider dreams are also symbolic of creativity due to the intricacy of their webs. To see a spider climbing up a wall in your dream, denotes that you're actually going to achieve your desires. So that's super fun there. Sorry, all I posted was this damn Black Widow. Oh boy. And my camera's a little funny today. But, I'm here. That's all I can say. So the card of the day, I went with my Gilded Royal Tarot deck. I told you my girlfriend gave me a plethora. And the first card I pulled was the Six of Pentacles. So here we see this rich man. He's kind of standing with scales in one hand. Feels Libra-ish, right? The scales of Libra. Yeah, the scales of Libra in one hand. And he's measuring out all of his pentacles, all of his monies, right? But also outside the window, his hands are kind of clutching and reaching out, but they don't really grasp any of the pentacles that are falling near him. So this rich man seems willing enough to give, but he's not paying any attention to where he is giving. So he lets his resources fall by the wayside and doesn't attend to the need directly outside the window, right? So he's not paying attention. He's consumed, really. So unlike the Lovers and the Major Arcana, that number 6, this one, he's not making these balanced choices, Libra energy. He's squandering his gifts while deluding himself in his mind that he's actually charitable. So you have to ask yourself, do you give of your resources freely, but are you paying attention to what you were doing in the first place? So are you giving people what they need, or are you just giving them what is pleasing to you to give them? There's this funny control factor here. So just be aware of proud, but just dispassionately giving, like if you're not giving from passion or from your heart. So it's like giving your child a brand new computer when what they really want is your attention. It's not a good use of your resources, right? So, and it's not really helpful for your children either. People do this all the time, quantity over quality. They're too busy, right? To pay attention to their kids. They've got this other alternative going on. See it all the time. So then, let's get rid of that. I pulled the Three of Wands, and these cards are so fun. I really didn't, I kind of sometimes fix the images a little, brighten them up, but these ones I didn't have to do that. But the Three of Wands, you can see him staring. He's sitting on the shoreline, and he's watching his ship sail off, or maybe it's returning. But either way, he's pretty much invested in the ship. And you can see that his wands are kind of lit up like the sun. So whether he sees success or failure in his future, for the moment, it's out of control. He can't affect its own outcome. So this is probably the most difficult card, really. Kind of like the Empress, the Major Arcana number 3, the 3, right? So it's this time of gestation, not of action or control. It's like you're holding the waves or the tide in a way, and you've made a choice, and now you have to kind of wait and simmer for the results. So whether you're patient or impatient, it really doesn't matter. It will not affect the outcome either way. So it's though a good opportunity to kind of learn patience and also self-control, and just being aware of actions where you might become agitated. So sometimes it's still frustrating to be still, right? To be in the calm of the storm and just allow things actually to kind of navigate their own course, navigate like the ship. So don't work yourself up needlessly at all. That's kind of the message there. And then I pulled the galactic sun. Look at this. It's all juicy. It's got the sun, the planets, the stars, the zodiac. So this is like the juice is on here, right? So everything's clear, everything's working great, the sun is illuminating. And not only that, you can actually see the actual order of things. So, you see this scientific charting of the heavenly universe, the heavenly coursing, navigating through the skies. And you see the symbols, the astrology symbols as well. And you know that, sometimes it feels like it's cold and mathematical kind of geometry kind of stuff out in the starry sky. But it's more than that. So there's these myths and there's these stories, and they're everywhere, right? They're there and they're everywhere, hidden and seen, doesn't really matter. And you see the universe with all of its layers, all of those meanings, and all of those contradictions too. But just know inside your heart, your queen, she's at ease, she's at peace with it all. So the message here of the sun in her glory is that peaceful contentment with the world, and just knowing also that everything is working out just the way it's supposed to be, and staying in that conscious river stream, that thread line. And we all have this ability to understand what we can and not to fret about what we don't understand. So just understanding ourselves and our own role in the galactic universe as much as we can authentically. And just know that you are also okay with that as well. And life really doesn't get much better than what you're doing at the current thread line, the current moment. So really just be aware that you might not be used to such ease or happiness. Sometimes we freak ourselves out because things are good, right? They're juicy, so it freaks us out. So just be careful not to fight the good and the gooder, the juicy, and enjoy the thread line as much as you can. And also, don't overanalyze it too much. The mind really is a tool. It can get in the way and kind of percolate and create chaos. And then for fun, because I pulled the sun, I decided to pull another card, which I don't often do, but I pulled the Chariot of all things. So the Chariot herself, she's all sitting there like a queen, right? She's vivid, she's bright. It's the card of victory. So we have the medallion of the sun above her head like a crown. That's an indication of the sun herself, this power, and the focus of this woman's mind. So even though victory seems like rather a straightforward kind of concept or an idea, it's actually kind of full of all of these contradictions. So she's this woman in royal purple, and she's riding this chariot. And instead of horses, she's got these two beautiful sphinxes. She feels pretty Egyptian to me, right? She is the queen. But instead of the horses moving forward, we see the sphinxes. And they symbolize kind of riddles, otherworldly riddles. One's silver, one's gold. So we have that energy in there. Those are opposing ideas. But this woman appears to be kind of driving this motionless vehicle. She doesn't have any reins like horses, horse reins, right? So this card, it really does symbolize victory. It says that she has control, she's gained strength, and she has strength and will all on herself. So she's very courageous, but she really hasn't resolved all the riddles of those opposing ideas. So she's got the achievement, but she doesn't have the understanding of how she has arrived. So the message here of the Chariot is one of willpower and also control. So I would say recognize your own strength and your own ability to maintain order in the midst of the chaos, the threads, right? Because they're everywhere lately. And just know that you can achieve more than you think you can. But more importantly, celebrate what you have accomplished. I think we don't celebrate our own good and gooder, our juiciness enough. And just be aware of anything that you're repressing, any repressing issues, or turn away from ideas that are puzzling to yourself. So once you achieve your goals, you don't really want to stop there. Like I'm always thinking of the next thing. So just kind of thinking that you have arrived, just know that there's also more and more that you can learn, and also more that you can also accomplish. That's when people live life to their fullest, they keep living further out into the future realms, to their last breath. So the moon herself, ironically enough, is actually in Leo, squaring our Scorpio sun, which is awesome. So you might have the sun, right? I pulled that card. So hello, Leo. So you might have some energetic hiccups on where your emotions belong, as well as what you belong feeling versus are they yours or somebody else's? So you kind of want to ask yourself, what is your recipe for love? And I really encourage you strongly to spice that up a little bit. it can be really recalibrated to your wildest dreams. And also, you know, what does your queen, your heart inside of you, bingo, think about that as well. So it's like your inner love story is really getting this recalibrated, upcycled, download, thought provoking love. Not just the love outside of yourself, but it's actually the love inside. So, some affirmations to get you on your way. You know, it's a great day to actually be inspired, inspirited through your mind with your thoughts and using your queendom, which is your heart self, those threads, to kind of decipher and knead through what is actually the most appropriate thought wave for you. And just be aware of your boundaries, find your mental clarities, and create that drawbridge, if you will. You know, don't let things in if they're less than less than zero. But it's also, you know, it's also a great day to affirm and rewrite that story, that inner voice, that dialogue. Just rewrite them and say them out loud all day long. You know, it's, you really want like a voice of love and support in your day-to-day village. Just allowing just all those old attitudes, that old wardrobe, shit in the closet kind of stuff, behaviors and thoughts to really be released and create those new heartfelt ones, the ones that are in alignment with the queen, who is actually you. So I would say, you know, I affirm the magical being that resides within me, and I am allowing old attitudes to shift and float away, put him in that conscious river stream of water, let them go, while creating new ones that resonate with my heart, which is the golden sun, also the solar plexus, and our heart herself, the queendom. And play with your golden sun. Make sure it feels juicy inside and out. Thanks for tuning in today and putting up with my lateness. I was on the snail train. Remind myself not to do an update on the actual computer when I'm going to go live, but make it a magical day in your village, and I will see you on the other side. InShalla and Ashe.